Welcome back to Pork Chops, Rice, and Peaches. I'm Noah.
I'm Richard.
He's not ready, is what he meant to say.
No, I'm not. You either use that story as the intro or you'll understand it at a future date.
And once he can get a hold of himself, we're going to talk about The Amazing Spider-Man 2 in part 5 of our ongoing Spider-Man retrospective.
You know, we talked about The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 a couple years ago.
We did.
And I did not go back and I did not look at anything we said. And
For this video.
For this
you did
video.
For the last video.
Yeah. Did I?
Yeah.
Part of it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not in this one.
I just edited the last one.
Gotcha.
It just went up.
And I've always said I reserve the right to change my mind on this one. And I think on a second viewing, I definitely liked this movie better the second time through.
Okay.
And I wrote one or two cool notes down at home, and they're still sitting at home, and I don't exactly remember what I wrote, except that there was something about the intro. There was something at the beginning that caught my attention. It was really nice.
About Richard Parker in the plane crash?
It might have been. I really liked that sequence this time through.
Yeah,
I really did. I really got the impression that Richard Parker was fighting for his life.
I watched it and I went, "Oh dang, Richard can throw hands."
yeah, he could. Yes, he could throw hands, and
apparently,
and he did a pretty good job of it.
Yeah.
Now, it's the post credits or mid credits sequence, because we turned it off right before the credits rolled.
I don't know if there's a credit sequence.
Or is it a deleted scene where his father shows up?
I think it's a deleted scene.
It's a deleted scene where his father shows up, because I've seen that scene.
Let's see.
And
let's do some research. Did to have a post credit scene? Nope, it does not.
Okay, then it was a deleted scene that you had shown me, once before. That probably would have. It probably would have, if it had made it into the movie, been a real good lead-in for a third.
I think so too.
It really would have been. And I think that watching this one, I very definitely decided that I like Garfield's Spider-Man better than Maguire's. Most definitely.
I think that's going to be our consensus on this.
Yeah, probably. And I'm just going to go there right now, because watching this, he's a natural in front of the camera.
Yes.
He's charismatic
as all hell.
He is absolutely hysterical with the wise ass quips while he's fighting.
Yep.
And it's got a comfort to it that the previous movies didn't have, right? And so it's just like revisiting an old friend.
Yeah,
right.
A little bit.
Yeah. Now, the foreshadowing of the Captain Stacy promise at the end of the first movie, comes to fruition.
Completely.
It's heavy-handed. There's no guessing as to what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's tragic because and I think I understand now your complaint that the writers will never allow Spider-Man to be happy.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they had, first of all, those two had better chemistry than the previous three movies.
Yep.
Right? And Gwen Stacy, that performance, you care about that character.
Yes.
More than I think. I don't know that I ever cared for Mary Jane Watson. I just didn't.
She kind of is just the love interest.
Yes.
She kind of is just the love interest. She's almost a plot point, not a character.
They give her a strong emotional background, but
they don't really do much with it.
Exactly. It doesn't go anywhere.
Whereas Gwen, and here's one of the things that I actually, if we're on the topic of Gwen, because in tradition, we never do any sort of plot synopsis, and we never have any structure to these videos. We're talking about Gwen.
Right, yes.
My big takeaway was, I had two. First funny observation is it might have actually worked in their favor to end the franchise there, because I don't think you could create a love interest after this Gwen it would have constantly been compared. I don't think you could have remade that. I don't think you could have remade that chemistry.
No.
I think any attempt to introduce a Mary Jane would have fallen flat. I think there's one character you could have done it with, and I don't think they would have done it well, and that's if they had introduced Black Cat into Andrew Garfield's storyline. And you wouldn't know much about Black Cat because she's very, very prominent in the comics and cartoons, and she's the Catwoman, Marvel's Catwoman.
All right.
But she's the, silver-haired, big boa collar, very sexy, bad girl, cat burglar, constantly flirting, constantly making like seduction moves, but it's a very specific type, and that's a love interest because it's it's literally like a cat and mouse game type thing.
Right.
Pardon the pun, but I think that's the only way they could have. But the problem is, Black Cat's real name is Felicia Hardy, and those of you paying attention at home would know that Harry Osborn's assistant in this, played by the girl who plays Jyn Erso in Rogue One.
Was that the same one? I knew I recognized her, but...
Her name was Felicia.
Ah,
so I'm wondering if that was supposed to be a seed. And I don't see her having that. I don't see her playing that character.
Not her, but... I was sitting here listening to you thinking to myself, which actor do we know could pull off that role with the chemistry with Andrew Garfield? I
can't. I am hard-pressed to think of one.
The chemistry with Garfield and Emma Stone was natural. Mm-hmm. It was genuine. It was palpable, and that's what made the whole thing work. I mean, you could feel it as an audience member. So the question is, who else could he do that with?
I don't know, and it helps that they were actually dating. Now, my big
during or after?
Both. Both.
Okay.
The thing about Gwen's character in this that makes her stand out from similar love interest characters is establishing her usefulness early. And that's one thing that's like, Gwen would be very annoying in this movie towards the end in particular if she wasn't so necessary as for her skill and her knowledge. So she's incredibly intelligent, keeping up with Spider-Man, who is a very intelligent character in his own right. He's a very smart person. Peter is, gifted. He's engineering and chemistry and all that stuff. He's a science nerd.
Yes.
So having someone without the powers who can keep up with that is important, and they established that early on in the first movie. So when she's there, had she insisted on coming with or trying to come help him, and she didn't have that established expertise.
Now I got what you're saying.
She would have been. It would have been annoying. You would have been frustrated. You would have been pissed at her. But no, you're like,
you'd have been saying you deserve what you get.
Yeah,
yeah.
But instead, you're like, no, I can see why you want it. I can see why you are making a valid argument for your presence, and it's less. It would have felt more like you're being a burden to Spider-Man.
Yes.
Instead, it's no. I can see where you're coming from.
You're
still kind of a burden, but you are also necessary.
Yes.
Because Spider-Man can't go flip off that reactor. He has to take care of the bad guy.
So yeah,
because she proves her usefulness in the first one as well, because she makes the anti-venom, she synthesizes it and helps him in that aspect.
Well, when she successfully convinces him to magnetize his web shooters, right? Yes. And then she says, "There's a reason you were number 2 at Midtown." Right?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And it's because it's that level of a character. It's like a character is allowed to be cocky. It's like a graph. It's like you're allowed to be as cocky as you are skilled.
Yes.
All right. The higher you are on this axis, the farther you need to be on this axis.
Yes.
And you know, it's like you.
And she was there.
And she was there.
I think then I don't know. Well, I'd have to check online to find out if Dennis Leary reprised his role, or did they just use pictures of him from the other movie and CGI him in?
No idea.
But we talked about in the One Piece season 2 how wonderfully they used Mihawk appearing and showing how much he was in Zoro's mind. Well, they were doing the same thing here, but they didn't use him enough.
Yeah, I don't think they used him enough either. They
completely underutilized him, and it actually might have been better if Leary was talking to him, not just staring at him, which leads me to believe that they just CGI'd a picture of him.
I think so too, because I think they just replayed his dialogue from the first movie as well.
Yeah, and so I think it would have been better if they had actually given them a couple of scenes and used him more, because you could see the slow burn, but the guilt, the ongoing tension that he had to overcome. I think
that leads to the biggest complaint with this movie that I have with this movie, because this movie, it's not as good as the first one. I'm gonna throw it. I don't think it's as good as the first one. I think this one has it stumbles in the middle, and I think that's what kind of brings it down just a little bit. I still like this movie, but it kind of meanders in the second act. In the second act, I think if I had to, I think you had a really interesting concept with Electro.
Yeah.
I think that it was half baked, and I think that he was underutilized through the middle of the movie. I think they introduced Harry too early. I think Harry Osborn was almost completely unnecessary in this movie. I think you could have started planting the seeds, maybe introduce him as Peter's friend, maybe, have a few scenes with them. Because they're obviously setting up for Green Goblin in the third movie as well. And they were setting up for the Sinister Six, which they were going to try to do because they wanted Rhino and Doc Ock and Vulture and Electro and the Green Goblin. And they wanted Spider-Man's big ensemble villain cast to fight. But as we seem to learn, superhero movies struggle when they try to introduce too many villains. Because you have too many backstories, you have too many developments you have to juggle, and I think Electro and Green Goblin kind of suffer in this movie because you don't get one and you don't get to develop their character. Yeah, I think everything you did with Green Goblin in this movie, you could have done with just Electro. Okay. All right, and this is where I have, you talk about when you're watching a movie and you have a hard time switching things off. Yeah. So I have this thing with writers where it's like you make a decision where the writers make decisions because they can't think of a better alternative. And it's obvious in the way their story plays out. Okay. And I'll give you two examples. All right. A good example where I completely ignored it, although it occurred to me that it could have been that. And a second example in this movie where I think they were doing workaround. Green Goblin didn't need to appear at the climax of this movie. No. He did not. He was completely unnecessary. Everything leading up to Gwen Stacy's death in this movie could have been done with just Electro. It was completely unnecessary to throw Green Goblin in. That was them going, okay, we need to start introducing more characters. This was studio interference going. We need more characters. Gotcha. We need to set up for a Sinister Six. We need to compete with the MCU. We need to compete with Avengers. So we got to use our property and do all that. So the writers are trying their hardest to incorporate and juggle all this stuff. The second point is way earlier, and it's in the incredible Times Square scene that I adore. Okay. Between Spider-Man and Electro, once Electro first becomes Spider-Man, or meets Spider-Man, because you get this wonderful scene of Peter being a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, because he is trying to talk Max down from a ledge. Yes. Like, obviously, we know that something is wrong with Max. He's not all there. He's got a parasocial relationship with Spider-Man, and he's invisible. He's treated like crap at work. Right. No one seems to care about him, and he looks up to Spider-Man, and Spider-Man is recognizing him, and he's doing a great job in that scene. right? Peter's doing a fantastic job talking this dude down, realizing, I don't think this dude is a threat. He's not being a threat. I'm going to try to talk this down. So he's like, cops, stand down. And what do? They put a sniper on the roof and say, shoot him if he moves. And it's like, you Mother Hubbard. You asshole. Because he shoots Electro and then everything goes to crap. And that turns Max truly into Electro because he's like, oh, now I associate this with Spider-Man.
Yeah, he says, you set me up.
Yeah, and Spider-Man's like, no, because... And that's what makes this movie kind of like double tragedy, because Spider-Man could have probably talked Max down.
Yeah.
He probably could have gotten Max some help. Who knows? He could have potentially turned Max into a hero like him. You know? You
wouldn't have a movie if you did that. Or you would have a movie that's so entirely different it would be.
Exactly. But that's the thing, is that line of thought exactly is where I'm going. Because obviously they had to write some reason for him not to succeed.
So we'll make it a trigger-happy cop.
And I didn't feel like that was unlike Green Goblin, where that was like, oh man, they had to figure out how to incorporate this.
Right.
I didn't feel when I watched that scene like, oh, they just had to find a way to ruin this. I went, no, that actually, okay. Setting up a cop sniper and telling him to shoot and move, I mean, that's standard. That, you know, I would imagine that is what would happen in real life as well. It felt more natural. It felt more like that's what would happen. You know, it's a natural consequence of the environment around.
Usually police use that as an absolute last resort, but it is a trope that's used in Hollywood all the time, that a government official who is looking at the situation one-dimensionally, you know, makes the wrong choice because
makes the wrong call,
and it's always the same wrong call.
Yeah, it's always the same wrong call. And again, normally it's a trope. Normally, it's a thing, but it's like, okay, you know, he blasted a few cop cars accidentally. They're all it's a supervillain who's really powerful in their mind. So it's like it's better woven into the narrative thread why it happened. Whereas the Green Goblin thing just kind of comes out of left field and is like, this feels like they needed to find an excuse.
So the Green Goblin, first of all, in the Maguire movies, you see Harry Osborn's madness developing. You see it creeping. You see it building, right? And so it's not a switch of a flip and suddenly he's the Green Goblin. In this movie, it's the flip of a switch. It just, you know, is. And okay, he's trying to get the cure. First of all, the disease ravaged the son far faster than it did the dad.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not entirely certain that I'm buying that.
Yeah. Fictional genetic diseases.
Well, yeah, but, you know. So,
I also like how they literally made his dad green and gave him, like, super long fingernails.
Yeah, I noticed
like,
that. It's like
you're trying really hard to not go the route of the Sam Raimi movies.
It's like his caretakers didn't know what nail clippers were, and that was the
thought.
That is the thought I had during that scene. Was he's got all this money, he's got all these caretakers, and no one's got a nail clipper.
Yeah,
you know,
bone saw.
Something to take care of that. One of the distracting parts about that, and I had the exact same thought. This is unfortunate because this is almost like a typecasting situation. The actor who played his Osborn Sr. is the same actor who played the Union Colonel in The Patriot. And I see him, and I always think of that role. Always. No matter what he's doing. And so, Spider-Man turns off, or there's a commercial, and there's an ad for a movie that he's in, where apparently he's an airline pilot, and the plane crashes in the ocean, and sharks,
that's the same
sharks
guy?
attack. It's the same guy.
That's funny.
And I was like, oh, it's the Colonel. You know?
Oh.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because he's just an actor making a living. He's really good. He's got a distinct voice. He's got a commanding
That never
presence.
helps. That never helps is when your voice is distinct.
You know.
It's like I'll always hear the voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta be really talented to overcome that.
You have to be very versatile.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which on that,
Christoph Waltz, Sam Jackson.
Yes.
There's a few who can do it.
Yes. But when you see an interview with an actor and they talk about how they selected the voice for their character and how they can change the voice and then talk in the voice and make it sound normal, that's some genuinely talented acting.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So that's and some people don't or can't. I sat down and I watched this movie, and I did watch it in 2 parts, but I went for the ride.
Yeah.
And the ride was enough. I mean, it was just good enough. I think I don't think they gave Jamie Foxx enough to work with.
No, I don't think so either.
And I think we talked about this once before. I think that with his talent, they could have given him so much more. But I'll be honest with you. I think that in the learning curve of superhero movies that Hollywood has gone through in the last 15 to 20 years, I think it was very late that they realized you've got to give your villains meat. And and
then they forgot how to give their actual main characters meat, but that's a whole different story to work with. But
well, one of the drawbacks of playing the hero is that usually the villains are more interesting.
Oh yeah.
And usually studios are getting top talents to be the villains, and therefore you become a mirror by which the villain is reflected, as opposed to one for the hero to see growth and development.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, Jack Nicholson completely outshined Michael Keaton. He just did.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Whereas Christian Bale held his own, even against Neeson, and that's pretty.
I would say Heath Ledger would be harder to, with that performance in particular, because again, that's a legendary top 10 greatest cinema performances of all time, like caliber.
Yes, but you would never say that Christian Bale suffered by comparison.
No, I wouldn't say.
He held his own in that, but you're right, especially the interrogation sequence.
I think that's something about Garfield as Spider-Man, because it takes a specific, he's got enough. I think he could and would.
Well,
I would like to see Garfield. Well, I guess this kind of happens, but you don't really get it. But I really would like to see Garfield's Spider-Man truly face off against Defoe's Goblin. I think that would be amazing.
I can see that.
Based on that that right there, just imagine that. Because Garfield has. I mean, we've seen him in so much. You've seen him in Hacksaw, and you've seen him in his music. He's so talented that I think you could put him in so many different ensemble casts, and he just would just hold his own against so many people.
I had a conversation this morning with my friend Macy about oh shoot! Now it's right at the tip of my tongue. All right, I'm gonna have to come back to that thought, and I'm gonna have to change directions to eventually where I was going. The established characters have parameters, and they have to stay within their parameters. Spidey has to always act like Spidey.
Yes,
he is. He will always be defined by a right and a left, and he has to stay within that. Whereas the guest villains,
they have more room to play.
Far more room to play, and they have
I can say that.
Far more room to explore what they're doing. But the Garfield established as Spider-Man, unless they're going to do a major character growth moment is always going to be stock responding in one way.
And that is something that I have issue with. I take issue with legacy characters, especially in the comic book medium. Whoa, what is going on?
He's saying, "Dad, I can hear you, but I can't see you, and I want to join in on the conversation."
Yeah, he does.
He sat in my lap with his back to Spider-Man this afternoon.
That is something that I find frustrating about characters like Spider-Man, like Batman. Like, it's why I don't like Batman, modern Batman. It's why I don't like modern comic writing Batman.
Gotcha.
Is because they have they have rabbit holed Batman so hard that unless you literally rewrite a new universe for Batman, you can't really step outside the box that they have put him in.
Right.
And I think they're afraid to try to do new things with Batman. They have danced with new stuff, like giving him a biological kid, having him settle down, and lo and behold, that was one of the better storylines apparently. But when they stuck to some of his like, oh, he's the world's greatest detective. Oh, and he's a master martial artist. And oh, he can win anything with prep time. And oh, that he can, he just becomes this. He becomes less of a character and more of a
caricature.
More of a monolith.
Gotcha.
That you can't really change.
Right.
So it's just yeah. So,
unless you do the tried true tricks of having him fail.
Mm-hmm.
Or having him like Batman without his gadgets.
They don't really allow, from everything I've seen, they don't really allow that character to fail.
Okay.
Often. They allow him to lose, but then of course, he's a superhero. He always has to come back and win in the end. So it's like I've seen very little long-term ramifications to Batman. It's kind of the opposite issue I have with Spider-Man writing, because Spider-Man gets so many long-term ramifications that they just don't let him win.
Right.
It's like the opposite.
Right.
But that's far more interesting of a character, because there are so many more ways to explore a character who fails than a character who always wins.
What would have happened in this movie? And so, if the writers and the producers and the directors would stop having a target audience of teenage boys and start having a target audience of adults who grew up with comic books, and maybe bump these ratings of the movies up to R, and maybe deal with some serious adult themes, and maybe have some emotional depth that's something that adults can process and understand, then they give everybody more to work with. Because one of my complaints with this movie, while they did show Peter mourning over 5 months, 5 months Spider-Man disappeared, which means the criminals are coming back out, and of course you get the rise of Rhino and everything else there. When he comes back, he's like, "Thanks, kid, you saved me," and he's back to his old form, and he's flipping the megaphone, and he's flippant Peter, teenage, superhero. What would have happened if instead Peter sees the threat? He is almost climbing in the bottle, knocked down, drag out, depressed. But he shows up anyway. Does what he has to do with bags under his eyes and exhaustion on his face. And he says, "Kid, I got this. Thank you for having my back." Gets him to his mom. Still wins. But you devote a third movie to the recovery. Almost like PTSD Peter Parker.
Yeah.
So that you get the growth over the course of a couple of years.
Yes.
Wouldn't that be a far more interesting third movie?
I think that's what the third movie was supposed to be, that's what I think the idea of introducing the Sinister Six, if you just introduce them as caricatures and don't really devote any time to giving them depth, because there's 6 villains to balance. You don't really need to. They did it in the game and it was great. But I think that's the perfect arc to do it with. I think that's the perfect thing. When he's at his lowest point, that's when 6 villains show up, and that's when he has to. That's when, and then he's just getting his ass kicked for a while. And I think that's what they were trying to do with him.
Then you see the graduation speech.
Yeah. Now I will admit he wasn't quite back to form there. He was very much like, "Hey kid, thanks." And then I could see with the body language, he was far more like, I'm really gonna try to do this for this, but like it's contrasted by, yes, he flips the microphone, but it felt if you compare it to the Times Square scene, end of the movie Peter seems depressed, Times Square Peter seems peppy.
I would say you're gonna part company here. I would say for 2 reasons that he's not depressed Peter, he is more mature Peter, he's more experienced Peter.
Yeah.
Because you cannot undo everything he learned from the preceding 5 months in the loss of Gwen Stacy. It's going to change him.
No, yeah.
But his tone of voice was very playful, and you get Spider-Man spinning 3 complete revolutions, grabbing the manhole cover, hitting one missile away, hitting the other missile away, completing the rotation, and smacking Rhino upside the head. That's Spider-Man back to his true form.
Well, we are gonna hard split on this. I think his tone of voice is him trying, to be the old Spidey.
Okay.
I think the tone of voice he uses is him trying to get back to that point. I don't think he's there. I don't think he's there at all. I think they were trying to set up that third movie where he would go through a depression, a massive depression arc. Maybe he doesn't want to get involved with a new love interest. Maybe he gets goes down a slightly darker path for a while. But that felt at the end, the way he was talking, like he was trying to get that Spidey back because he knows that he's there. The cops are watching him. The kid is watching him. New York is watching him. You notice how much New York loves Spidey in this movie?
Yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah.
That was so refreshing, especially after 3 movies of Maguire. God, that dude could not catch a break. It was so refreshing to watch this, because you had a little bit of that in the last one, where it was like, oh, because it's an origin movie for Spider-Man. So of course there's like, oh, is he really a good guy? Is he a vigilante, or do we really need this? This movie, they loved him. And it felt like he was coming out, reluctantly coming back out because he knew it was the right thing to do, but mentally he wasn't there yet. That's what that ending felt like to me.
Okay.
And the whole spinning thing, that's just shaking off the rust is what it felt like. It's like muscle memory. He's like, yeah, I'm using my instinct to knock these away, and boom.
You and I rarely hard split.
Hard split. But that's how I thought about this. But
gotcha. No, that's cool. That's fine.
Thoughts on that?
I don't think you can write the third movie like we would like to see it written with that ending sequence. Because he would have been backtracking too far after that defeat of the Rhino.
I think we're gonna have to agree to disagree on this one. So agree to disagree.
I love the hard splits. I love the hard splits.
We're gonna agree to disagree on the ending of this movie.
That's great.
I know what we will agree on is that Gwen's death is tragic, and a lot of people knew it was coming because true to the comics, Gwen died. But that speech...
You don't need the comics. All you need is the promise at the end of movie 1 to know that this is not going to end well.
The graduation speech on the thumb drive, though.
Okay, so we're downstairs. We haven't talked about the movie at all.
Ba-boom, ba-boom.
And we're holding a different conversation, and I had to pause the different conversation because I was still so choked up from the graduation speech on the thumb drive at the end. And when I said, wait a minute, man, that speech got to me, his reaction was, thank you, me too. That's a tearjerker.
It is. It's a tearjerker.
That is an absolute
because
tearjerker.
They start the speech at the beginning, and I was like, oh, this is not so subtle foreshadowing. Ha ha ha. I had completely forgotten that he watches it again at the end. What is wrong?
Dude.
What is wrong? I had completely forgotten that it was a that comes back around full circle at the end, and he plays
Yes.
it. I had
Yes.
completely forgotten that was a plot point, and I was like, oh, this is so rude. It's
Yes.
so rude.
Yes.
And Andrew Garfield is fantastic at crying on camera.
Yes, he is.
Like, oh my gosh, like he is puffy, red-eyed. You could tell that he has his full emotional investment into every time.
Yep.
And in so many different ways too. Like he can be depressed crying, he can be sad crying, he can be happy crying. Like it's kind of impressive how many different ways one man can cry on camera.
And still maintain his manliness.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it. He is an extraordinarily talented actor, and
Jeez.
yeah. So now, is there any truth to the rumor that Sony's going to give him a third movie?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. It keeps circulating. It keeps. I know there's a lot of demand for it. Obviously, I think he's in his 40s now.
Yeah, but that would still be cool.
Yeah, no, he's still because he still looks like he could play a slightly older
Spider-Man.
Because he doesn't. The dude didn't age. He's like Paul Rudd. The dude's gonna be 60 and looking like he's 40. He's gonna turn 60 and finally have some salt and pepper in his beard, and it's gonna be like you. How's it feel to be favored by God?
I don't know about that, but I know what it feels like to be 60, finally have salt and pepper in your beard and not look 60.
Yeah.
Right. And I know that if this all comes off, people will think I'm 40.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it happens.
And what's it like to be God's favorite? But yeah, no, I think...
If I were single, do you have any idea how hard it would be for me to date women my own age?
I can believe it.
It would be next to impossible. They'd be like, kid, I'm done changing diapers. I'm like, wait a minute.
I have so much fun in the edit. I don't know if there's any truth to him getting a third movie. I know that people would love for them to get him a third movie.
If you do a little picture of me in diapers, I will kill you.
I don't know what you would do with it. I'll be real honest. At the point that they're at now.
You can't go back and revisit any of that stuff at the point you're at now.
Well, in knowing that he comes back for a third movie, with the other two, and does get a little bit of exploration in that movie, because they explore all three a little bit, just a wee little bit, because they do follow up. It's not just like a glorified cameo. It's they show up and have an impact on the story. So Andrew and Toby.
Oh,
and
yes,
Tom Holland's third.
Okay.
So it's like, not only would you be making a sequel to this one, you would be making a sequel to that Peter.
It all depends on where they put it in the timeline.
I feel like you should do it after No Way Home. I feel like at this point you should do it after. I don't think you should do a third one after this movie. I think you should do it after No Way Home. And I think you'll understand once you see it. But... I would really like for them to...
Yeah, here's the interesting... So,
you know what? Just introduce him to... I told you about Spider-Gwen.
Right.
Give him a parallel universe Gwen Stacy that comes in.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
One that lost her Peter.
I wonder if those two could act together again.
I feel like they could.
Apparently,
like I said in the last video, I think they split on good terms.
Yeah.
They split on good terms, so...
So we're moving into the Tom Holland movies now.
We are about to, yeah.
And here's the cool thing. This is how good I am at keeping myself absolutely isolated from pop culture.
You haven't seen any of them and know nothing about them?
I have seen bits and pieces of a couple of them. I've never seen an entire Tom Holland beginning to end as Spider-Man. And so, I've seen him in the Avengers movies as Spider-Man. I have not, in a couple of those little, content creator blurbs pointing out, and honestly, in the action of the movie, I totally missed it. He grabs Winter Soldier's hand and stops a punch.
Yeah.
And holds him.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, you don't think of the power scaling on stuff like that. And,
No,
and that
yeah.
one just kind of like completely I missed as we were going through.
I have a love-hate relationship with power scaling, but yeah, no, canonically Spider-Man is scary.
Yeah.
Like, he's not Hulk, but like, he's terrifying.
Did he ever face off with Hulk?
Yeah, he's done it multiple times.
Does he?
Yeah, one of the times he cracks a joke that's so good that Hulk is just like, Hulk laughs so hard he changes back into Banner.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be pretty funny to see.
It's great.
That'd be pretty funny.
I think it's a knock-knock joke, too. I think it's a really stupid knock-knock joke. Also, Hulk does scale down. So fun fact for you in the comics.
Yeah.
Hulk is so cosmically overpowered in the comics that he actually has to change how he fights people that he knows are too weak. Because if he punches people too hard, he generates shockwaves that will knock out normal humans. So he actively, if he's fighting like street level people, like if he's fighting like a Hawkeye or Captain America, he actively scales down how hard he fights.
Wow.
That Hulk actually, he's not a mindless creature in the comics. He's a separate entity that is.
I like the fact that Hulk is not a mindless creature. I do.
Yeah.
In fact, I like a lot of what was done with Hulk in across the entire MCU. I don't like the final end product all that much, but I liked what they did along the way. Like Hulk refusing to come out because he was scared. That was a great.
I actually, yeah,
concept.
I like that. In a lot of the, I'm going to reference Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the cartoon. Hulk was a speaking character in that, separate from Banner, where it's two people who are separate in the scene. You know, they transform.
Okay. Right.
Hulk is able to speak with people. He is able to create his own individual friendships. And that show, I grew up on it. It was that one I watched as a kid.
Yeah, I remember that.
Loved that show. Him and Hawkeye in that show, because that's the show that got me into Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Him and Hawkeye are like the ultimate best buds.
Really?
In that show. They get like Hawkeye actually gets the tell a joke and get him to calm down and show Banner in that cartoon, where Hawkeye basically tracks him down because he needs Banner,
right?
And he finds Hulk, and he just looks at Hulk, and he's like, "Okay, look, we're going to do this one of two ways, J Jaw. Either you're going to give me Banner, or I'm going to put you down." And that's what Hulk. That's when Hulk laughs hard enough that, and Hawkeye smirks because he knows what.
Right.
Anyway,
that's pretty good.
I'm getting off.
Yeah,
track,
we're kind of meandering here, but that's what we always do.
Spider-Man is terrifyingly strong in actuality. Once you really show Spider-Man compared to, I told you about Doc Ock becomes Spider-Man.
Yes.
He punched a dude's jaw off.
Yeah.
And then realized, oh, he's been holding back this whole time, and it completely resets Octavius's opinion towards like he immediately has to reconsider every fight he's ever had with Spider-Man.
Right. So who's the high school student that was mocking him? Who he went up to consult Peter after Ben died.
Flash Thompson.
Flash Thompson, and he slams him up against the locker, and Flash is like, "Dude, I'm trying to be a human being here."
Yeah.
And in that. And Peter realizes it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you could see the amount of power and rage that was about to go into the overkill moment. Yes.
Yep. So Spider-Man has a similar situation where he holds back a lot against a lot of people. There's very few people that he can just
absolutely uncork on,
and it's typically Wolverine. Wolverine, I mentioned Captain America can lose with dignity.
Right.
They don't allow Wolverine to lose with dignity. They just beat the crap out of Wolverine because no one's going to question why Wolverine lost against the Hulk. It's the Hulk. But you're more impressed that he survived because he can.
Right. Yeah, no, I can understand that.
Speaking back, there's a comic panel of Wolverine going, "No, not many people can tell you what it's like to get hit by the Hulk."
Yes.
And it's a thought bubble, it's a thought bubble at the bottom, and it's just like, at first it doesn't hurt at all. And everything goes black. And then everything catches up at once. And you're just, He said it's like fighting a walking earthquake or something.
So, yeah, you know what?
On the topic of the fighting, though, if I may, real quick.
Oh yeah, by all means.
I love the style of the fighting in this movie.
Okay.
I love how, and this might be because I love the video games so much, the modern video games, on the PS4 and the PS5, because the mechanics of web slinging in that game are so fluid, so smooth. Like you can just web sling as Spider-Man for hours in that game around New York City.
Really?
The controls are so good. They're so clean. The web slinging, the running along the walls, the flipping and everything. It's so good that this movie feels like that.
Just out of curiosity, do they have that in VR?
Oh God, you would get so sick so fast.
Well, I mean, I might get so sick so fast, but I'm just wondering if it would trick your brain into the feeling of doing that.
Probably. It'd probably be nauseous. I can tell you, having been spun around at high speeds in the air.
Yeah.
All right, with like a wire. Just
right. Yeah.
That you lose all sense for a second. You kind of have to trust your body to know where it is because you can't see crap. It's like a blur, and you're like, okay, I'm at this point in the rotation. Okay, and I'm about to hit the ground. Okay, boom. He would have to have amazing equilibrium for that to work in real life.
2 parachute jumps that I've ever done were not static line. Mm-hmm. The first 5 seconds of free fall, I could see where people would black out. I don't know why I wasn't put on a static line for that. I mean, it was
Do you have an instructor attached to you?
No.
No?
No.
What?
No.
Now I
know.
Wow.
I know.
Okay.
I know. And
something you will never catch me doing.
Well, it was, I'm back, and you get that rush. You talk about, the rush, and it was like nothing I have ever experienced. And I was, we're told to scream 1,000 through 5,000, pull the ripcord, and they can hear you from the plane. And they told me they couldn't hear me. I was screaming as loudly as I could, but my voice was strangled because my neck was back, and I was trying not to black out. And I just remember going, boom! and it was only a 3,000-foot jump. You do not have room to make mistakes at 3,000 feet.
Jeez.
So I share that to say I understand that feeling. I understand that overwhelming, the speed, the power.
Yeah.
Didn't have the rotation, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine if you had gone into a tumble, that could cause a blackout. If unexpected tumble.
Unexpected, yeah. I've talked to guys who've done that from 10,000 feet, and they say it's a hoot.
I
somersault in the air and their way down.
I believe that psychos exist and that they
enjoy
that sort of thing.
I met a couple of them, but it was overwhelming.
I don't no. It's something you'll never catch me doing. I would much rather ocean, hop in, look down, pure blackness, release all the air bubbles, and sink. I'd rather do that any day. Because I've done that. It's way more my speed. There's a fun, terrifying. It's terrifying, but not in the way that heights absolutely petrify me.
Okay.
Heights, I'm like no. To the point where I get like secondhand fear when I see other people up high. Okay. I'm like no, get back from that ledge. Get back here right now.
Wait till it's bow bun.
I know, exactly. I'm like, the pure abyss below, you would think would cause the same thing.
Right.
It's completely different. It's completely
different.
See, it's completely different.
I couldn't do that.
It's like an adrenaline.
Yeah.
It's the adrenaline rush of like, ooh, that's pitch black. I can't see what's down there. Ooh, that's fun. Let's go.
No.
So
The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Going back to the original topic of the video.
Yeah.
I just want to say I already know when we do our ranking, I already know where these two movies are in relationship to the Maguire movies. And so the question is going to be, what happens when I see the
Holland
movies and see where it goes. And what I'm wondering is, am I going to block 3 movies, 2 movies, 4 movies in a certain order, or am I going to say, okay, movie 1 of Holland is better than movie 1 of Maguire, but it's not as good. Are we going to zipper them in together? That's really my big question for where we're going.
Yeah. That's what I'm curious about too. I will probably try to rank the movies as individually.
Right.
I have never seen the first Tom Holland movie.
Oh, okay.
I have seen the second one in pieces.
Okay.
I think while I was on deployment. And then I've seen No Way Home, the third one.
Gotcha.
It's Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home.
Okay.
And so I've seen... I've seen all
and
of
I'm assuming he
one.
does get home at the end of No Way Home?
He never really left. I've seen those, and of course I've seen him in it was Civil War first, and then it was Infinity War,
right.
And then it was Endgame.
Right.
And I liked him as a part of the ensemble. I am not sure how I feel about his solo.
Carrying the weight of the movie?
Yeah, I'm not sure. And that's the thing, because Tom Holland he's talented.
Yes.
I think from what I've seen, I'm wondering, I haven't seen him in his, outside of Spiderman enough to get a gauge on him as an actor.
Yeah.
Did you see Garfield's musical duet?
Yes.
Have you seen that where they're rapid fire? And
yeah.
talking?
It's tremendous.
I need to see more stuff like that.
Have you seen Tom Holland in the lip sync battle?
I have as Rihanna as a performer. He's good.
All in on that.
No,
he's good.
I will give him that. He puts his all in on his performances. So we'll see. We'll see how it ranks. I know Iron Man, because it was made around when Iron Man was still alive, is in the first. I know Robert Downey Jr. is also.
Does he make a cameo in the first?
I think he's central to the plot.
Oh, is he central? Oh, okay.
I think he's because it's post Civil War, pre Infinity War.
Oh, okay.
So, I know he's kind of a part of the main cast. So, it'd be interesting to see. And I think I almost think if I've got the right bead on Holland's character arc through his 3 movies so far, I think it's going to be a completely different metrics by which we gauge that story versus these 2.
Okay.
So, because we're going to I think naturally we're going to kind of be gauging it through the lens of this is a part of the greater MCU.
Okay, I see that. Yeah.
So it's gonna have a factor. It's gonna have a say. But I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this goes, and then.
Yeah, so am I.
3 left, and then we're going to do a tier video, and then probably dive into the other stuff. I know Spider Noir is coming out on Amazon Prime with Nick Cage.
Spider Noir is coming out, and I do want to do the Venom movies with Tom Hardy. I really do.
Okay.
I've been interested in those ever since I saw the scene in the grocery store where he swallows.
Can we eat this one?
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah, that. So,
I can't imagine the guy who voiced Venom got through all those lines with a straight face.
I would love to hear all the one-liners he came up with that didn't make it into the movie. The audio outtakes ought to be hysterical.
Yeah.
Oh. So The Amazing Spider-Man 2, what did you think of it? I'm assuming we're kind of winding down here.
I think we're winding down. It's not as good as the first one, but it's still good. I think it's more, it had good, I think, and this is my summary was...
Right.
Good concepts, mid-execution. Not bad execution, just kind of meh.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I think you had a cool idea with Electro. Didn't get all the attention it needed.
Yeah.
I think you had a cool potential concept with Harry. definitely needed more, like, its own movie.
Harry needed its own movie.
So
Harry was rushed.
very.
And Harry never felt like a genuine threat.
Yeah. So, yeah. I think it's good concepts, mid-execution.
Yeah, I believe that. For the villains, for the main character, and for the for Gwen.
Yeah.
I think the execution was phenomenal.
Yeah, I think that's bogged down by the fact that they didn't give the... I think that the whole movie as a whole is bogged down by the fact that they didn't do a good enough job with the two villains, that it kind of mids the whole movie.
So, it sounds to me like for you, the meta aspect of the villains kind of like takes a higher priority than the excellent execution of the main two characters, and for me it's the reverse. The excellent execution of the main characters makes the movie better, because I could like write off the villains, because I didn't care about the villains as much as I cared about Peter and Gwen.
Yeah, I see that. I think hold on. I think yes, but here's why. I expected Peter and Gwen to be good. And they didn't.
They didn't disappoint.
You know, the bar was already set. If they hadn't been that good, I would have been disappointed. I would have had an issue with it. So I went into this, expecting it to be already well done. I expected it to be good.
Gotcha.
I didn't think it was good.
Gotcha.
So,
I understand. I get it. I get it.
That was the bare minimum. I think that's it. I think that was the bare minimum they had to hit.
Of all movies, for you and me to like have complete opposite reactions to this one is taking me by surprise completely.
I think honestly, just having we've both already seen it.
Yep.
So it's a little easier for us to just formulate the opinions.
I liked it better the second time through. I really did.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah.
All right.
But yeah. As you were trying to say, let us know your thoughts on the Amazing Spider-Man 2 in the comments below. And if you're liking this series and you haven't already, consider hitting that subscribe button. Maybe? Yeah. Pretty please.
Appreciate it. Little bell there, ping, let you know when we're doing our next content.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Pork Chops, Rice, and Peaches.
We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.